Many of you have likely noticed that in the last 12 to 18 months, YouTube has been all doom and gloom when it comes to the bike industry. And naturally, as a new YouTuber, I couldn't resist making some clickbaity title myself just to draw you in. But I do want to talk about some of the reasons why the industry is in such disarray and why, for some players, it's nothing to worry about. If you run a small, right-sized bike shop that's not stretched beyond your means and provides quality service, you have nothing to worry about. While the industry has been posting doom and gloom, we have posted record numbers the last 12 to 18 months. So how can this be? Why is it that some players are doing so poorly that they're actually having to shutter their doors, while other shops like mine are thriving? Ultimately, it comes down to two things, and I'll go through them now. The first is going to be over-leveraging. There are way too many players in the bike industry that in the middle of and post-pandemic have overstretched themselves under the assumption that pandemic numbers were going to last far into the future. Just as it's poor practice in your personal finances to take on too much debt and over-leverage yourself, and in other words, take on too much risk, there were players in the industry that believed that the COVID level of bike interest was going to be the new norm, and so they expanded way too fast. Practices such as purchasing inventory on credit that you are not yet guaranteed to sell, and taking on way too much overhead through overhiring or even getting a larger space than what's necessary has led to the downfall of many shops across the states. These have been problems in business that weed out certain shops over the last couple of decades. However, COVID exacerbated a lot of these problems. So how did we avoid these pitfalls? During the industry bubble, like many shop owners, we worked overtime to keep our inventory loaded up, and we even purchased more than what we typically would for the foreseeable sales season. Usually we're looking at anywhere between 2 and 4 months out when we're making our inventory purchases. This doesn't just involve bikes, but any accessory items or parts. We're looking at what we need for the service department, tires, tubes, cables, housing, as well as things that we need to stock on our shelves, such as lights, gloves, stuff from Park Tool. Helmets are a big one for most bike shops. For these types of things, we massively increased our order size, but we also did so with the confidence that even if the current level of demand dropped like a rock, these were items that we could still hold long term and sell in the future. For example, how much risk do we take on if we order 150 helmets instead of 40? Maybe in a normal year, we would order 40 and that would get us through the next few months. If we over-ordered 140 helmets, then we're just gonna have to store a bunch of helmets in the back of our shop or even at home while we slowly get through that inventory. I bring this up as an example because it's something that happened to us. I'm standing next to what is still a decently large pile of helmets that came from the pandemic era. However, mistakes like that are not truly mistakes. What would be a true mistake would be something like ordering tens of thousands of dollars worth of inventory for our bicycle floor, all on credit, with the assumption that we're gonna keep moving through it at the same rate that we were during the industry bubble. This is something that happened to a lot of shops, and as you can guess, this was not a good thing coming into the tail end of the rush. A lot of shops found that they had a lot of inventory sitting on their floor that they had not yet paid for, and those loans were coming due, and the sales were not there to support their level of debt. This may be an unpopular opinion, but I don't feel bad for these shops as they're making an age-old financial mistake that many people make in their personal lives. We're just now seeing it at an elevated level in the bicycle industry. You can point fingers at shop owners and say that it was greed, but in my opinion, it was just an inability to accurately forecast risk going into the future. For me, I saw the increase in demand. I was right there in that roller coaster ride with you, and I was doing everything I could to get my inventory at the highest levels possible, knowing I was selling a lot through. However, I was completely unwilling to take on risk in the form of debt by getting either a larger space or taking on inventory that I had not yet paid for. Because of this, I rode smoothly outside of the bubble with no debt to keep me up at night. The second thing that has been causing anguish in bike shops is, again, something I will sound like a broken record about, but it's going to be elitism. I believe there's a quote by Seth Godin, and I'm probably going to butcher it here, but it goes something along the lines like this, and it has to do with business growth and a business owner's attitude towards their customers. Ultimately, the quote goes that as a business gets large enough, they develop an ethos of we don't care because we don't have to. When your first customer walks into your store on your opening day, they're going to get your undivided attention and you're going to have a high level of excitement to serve any one of their needs. When you're on your 10 millionth customer and they've become a number and your processes are so clogged up that you can't really see the human side of things anymore, you get to a point where naturally, as a sales associate, as a business owner, and as a human, you just don't have the capacity to care at the level that you used to. Talk about a good problem to have, but if you let this run rampant enough, it will actually chip away at your business until it's eventually destroyed. This has been something that's been going on in the bike industry for far too long, and if you're a regular Dave and Susan that just wants an everyday bike, you know exactly what I'm talking about based on your experiences at bike shops. One of the problems that the 2020 industry boom introduced to shop owners in a very sneaky manner is it increased the demand for their product so much, so quickly, that this underlying problem also became exacerbated. This isn't just true in the bicycle industry, but you're seeing in retail at large that customer service is at an all-time low. There's a lot of reasons for this, mostly just burnout from the heightened demand for products in their industry. And combine that with short staffing, which is another thing that's prevalent in retail at large. But still, it's important for shop owners to understand that this elitist mindset of being dismissive of your most common customer is really going to be chipping away at your business faster than you think. So while you skim through YouTube and you watch all these different videos about how there's so much doom and gloom in the industry, remember, that's going to be a problem for the cyclist-oriented shops and not the local bike shops looking to serve everyday people. We just posted record numbers for 2024, and I expect to do the same in 2025. And we're going to do so by following the dead simple framework of better and more. How do we provide a better quality service, a better quality product? How do we do it faster? How do we make it more personalized? This means more training for our sales associates, faster touching base on work orders, better, cleaner, rebuilt bikes, not reinventing the wheel, but just doing what we're already doing, but better. If you keep your shop operations simple and remember to cater to everyday people as well as the cyclists, and just develop an ethos amongst yourself and your sales associates to be 1% better every day, then your shop will be an outlier in the otherwise doom and gloom that we are all but guaranteed to continue seeing into 2025. Given enough time in any industry, the players that provide the best service end up winning. It's a nice little side effect of capitalism, believe it or not. The general public will continue to vote with their dollars, and the shop owners who remember that they're selling their smile as much as they're selling their expertise will come out on top. If you run a small and scrappy shop like ours, comment below. We want to check you out. And if you're interested in any industry coaching or getting ready to launch a shop of your own, we have some links in the description that you may find interesting. See you in the next video.